Okay, so I'm actually looking up to find another one here because we have several set aside that we were looking at, and yeah, this is another one here. This one here is on Land Watch. This is another one. This one here is right at 250,000, right? Under contract, unfortunately. See, this wasn't under contract the other day. And one of the things is when we actually start looking, we need to be ready to move, right? In a position where if we find an ideal property, and I believe me, over the 2 years that my family and I have been looking for properties, we've come across some wonderful, ideal, excellent properties, and they went just like that. Thing with this one is 250, and it has um, a huge pond. It's mostly cleared, right? And hold up for a second. Let me see, how many acres was this here? How many acres was this here? This is only 24 acres. So this is well below where we want to be. We don't want to be at 24 acres. We want to be at a minimum of 40 acres. But this is one that the family and I looked at previously. Now, interesting. This is another small one, but I'm just right now. I like to give you a few ideas of the kind of stuff we found. We looked at this one here. My son and I went out to this one. It's right here in Maryland, La Plata, Maryland. Just under 20 acres, 19.7 acres. Um, they wanted 105,000 for this, right? And we looked at it. The owner's willing to finance. The owner finance deal. Um, but again, it was not it's really not what we were looking at, we're trying to look at getting. I think a lot of you guys have seen this video here. Um, this is the one that
To Channel 2's Audrey Washington about the aid. She also traveled to a Toomsboro farm to learn how it aims to reverse decades of discrimination.
We're standing in what's going to be a cow pasture.
Farming is what Wayne Swanson knows.
That grass you see over there is money.
For years, he's owned and operated Swanson Family Farms right here in Georgia. Now he's using his expertise to educate the next generation of black farmers. Meet Greg Mullins.
This is huge platform.
Greg is among 19 black families from Metro Atlanta who together purchased 500 plus acres of farmland in Toomsboro, Georgia, some 2.5 hours outside of Atlanta. It's a part of the Freedom Georgia Initiative, a black-owned, innovative community for environmentally sustainable living, health and wellness, and agricultural development.
It's not like moving a mountain. It's actually pretty easy if we just do what we're supposed to do.
Wayne is helping Greg and the other new landowners learn how to maintain the farm both physically and financially.
If they're going to finance some of their structures, if then that loan is forgiven and we are in a place where we can make money.
Greg plans to take full advantage of the Farmers Relief Program and President Joe Biden's Build Back Better framework. Under the program, billions of dollars in debt forgiveness will be provided to disadvantaged farmers and ranchers. Specifically, it allows farmers who experience past discrimination in USDA credit programs to apply for additional assistance up to $500,000. Georgia U.S. Senator Reverend Raphael Warnock, who is a member of the Agriculture Committee in the Senate, pushed for the program.
Well, the history of discrimination against black farmers is well documented.
Georgia has among the highest number of black farmers in the country. Still, black farmers have lost millions of acres of land over a number of decades. According to the U.S. Department of Agriculture, in 1920, 14% of all farmers in the United States were African American. But compare that to today, where only about 1.5% of farmers in America are black.
During Jim Crow, we couldn't own the property.
They are having a tough time.
Senator Warnock says for too long, black farmers have been shut out of federal agricultural programs. Those programs included disaster relief, subsidies, and loans. Even the U.S. Department of Agriculture acknowledged a systematic pattern of discrimination. Senator Warnock says the federal provision will be a much-deserved lifeline.
It will indeed provide debt relief to 92% of black farmers in the state of Georgia. This relief package provides support for all farmers.
Now with federal aid on the way, Wayne and Greg and many like them,
We already did our soil test.
can focus on the future of farming.
Addressing past ills that have negatively affected African American farmers, everyone's going to get helped.
Next for this property, fencing. The USDA will help fund pasture fencing here. It's just one more example of how federal dollars are helping farmers, particularly black farmers, right now. In Toomsboro, Georgia, I'm Audrey Washington, Channel 2 Action News.
And adding this, measures to compensate farmers for past discriminatory practices still wrapped in red tape after the U.S. Agriculture Secretary introduced a $4 billion relief plan for minority farmers in early 2021.
Okay, so those are a few of the things that you know, we were sharing, and I don't know how many of you actually got a chance to look at those different things. There are a couple other things that we shared in the group. One of the things I tried to do is to let everyone know that there's so much potential for to drive forward what we're trying to do. There's, as was mentioned there are sorts of grants. There are loans or forgivable loans and grants available out there for things like greenhouses, like tractor equipment, right? Rather farming equipment. And that would include dozers, you know, things that we can move earth with. And that's one of the things we want to be able to do in terms of grading and getting ready for our for the build outs, right? To prepare the building sites. And so there are a number of things that when it comes down to a number of things when it comes down to selecting the property. And this is why I want some of you guys out there, if you're looking at this on any of our pages or groups, please hop on the Zoom session, because this is a serious effort we're trying to do, and what we really want to see is that we have that participation, that interest, right? It's been expressed. Now, I don't know if a lot of people were traveling, trying to take advantage of the holidays, and so that they can travel and see family or what have you. However, this is the kind of thing that I myself am willing to hop up, and whenever I have the ability to create a block of time so that we can meet and do a real-time back and forth exchange regarding this. I did have some news I want to announce, but I want to announce that news and get feedback regarding it, and that's what I need. We need to have feedback so that we know how we feel about as a group. How do we feel about moving forward? Because we have 4 families now. Soon, I think, to be have 3 other families that are potentially coming on board within the next few days. We may be at our 25 family target in the first quarter of 2022, right? So within the next 3 months, 90 days to build out and be there. And once we're there, then we're able to you know, do some things to move forward and yeah, this code is okay. We got someone trying to come in. The passcode is give me a second here. I thought I had pasted that in there, but apparently I didn't. Let me paste the passcode and the link in there. Copy copy text, and here we go. Looks like we have someone who's trying to come in. Give them a moment, and we can get this meeting off. Okay, good. So, uh, so and then we can kind of build and grow, right? And that's what it's all about. But and we also all want to be on the same page, want to understand. So as I was saying, there's some boxes that we want to have checked on any land that we get. One, and if you can make a mental note or an actual note of this here, one of the things we want is that the land must have, uh, first and foremost, the ability for us to build 25 or more housing development. In other words, whether we have to subdivide it, and then we have to look at that process, right? What does it take to subdivide this property and make it so that we can do do just that? Um, and so that's one of the things too. We want surface water. I know a couple of the properties that we viewed have multiple streams, or simply at least one healthy non-seasonal stream, right? Of course, groundwater, well water, being able to, and we can check and see how far people typically have to drill to get to wells. Now, not that every building site needs to have its own well. It's not a bad idea, right? If you do. The more wells we have, the more access to water we have, the better it is. Um, and that's one of the reasons why we want surface water, because there are some things that can be done with that as well. When you have a surface, a stream, there's some ability to do some hydro generation. There's ability to do, to create a few ponds, a couple of three ponds to do fish farming and that sort of thing. So there's some, just to create ponds, not just to raise fish, but ponds that um, we can use and have in our recreational uh, areas, right? And that's why the more land we get, the better. I was looking at one yesterday. It already came with a 1 acre stocked pond, right? And it said multiple streams, and one of those streams was it had what was it, a spring fed creek as well. So there's a lot of opportunity, but again, we have to be ready. Welcome, Brother Bilal and Brother Ralph. Glad to see that you could join us. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. You're muted.
Walaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Can you hear me?
Yeah. It sounds like you're getting breakfast there, huh?
Walaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Can you hear me?
Yeah. It sounds like you're getting breakfast there, huh?
No. Hayatullah, how you doing, Sheikh?
Alhamdulillah. Sounds like we got a little bit of a delay. I heard myself there.
Malaysia, I'm trying to listen to you on Facebook while I'm watching you on my phone, because for some reason I'm not getting any sound on my phone, but I can hear you fine on Facebook. So I'm trying to mess with both of these apps at the same time.
No, subhanallah. No, love us. So Brother Ralph is on board. He might also be multitasking there. But one of the things I was bringing up, and feel free to chime in.
Yeah,
at
sound
any
like
time.
Yasin. We can't hear you, man.
You can't hear me. Let's see here.
Yeah, that's why I was on mute for a while, because I thought you were talking to somebody else in the background.
All right, bang. Let's see here. You can't hear me. I haven't used this. I haven't used this.
Yeah, it sounds fine on Facebook, but on the app for the Zoom app. I
Uh-huh.
can't hear you, so I thought it was
Oh,
just me.
how about now?
Now we can hear you perfectly.
Hey. Oh, he's streaming on Facebook as well. I didn't realize that.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. We're streaming on Face. Sorry about that, guys. Sorry. Well, you guys just joined, so that I was streaming only on Facebook. I put it on 3 or 4 pages there. We have 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. So we're streaming all over the place because we really want to try to get this information out as much as we can. We're getting a lot of interest. We have 4 families already, and 3 more coming on board. It looks like could be on board within the next few days, week or so. Um, we're trying to reach our target of this. I'm kind of repeating some of the stuff I said. So if you heard it on Facebook, which Ralph, I know you missed it because you weren't there, but we're trying. The goal is 25 families, $10,000, right? Each family bringing 10,000 to the table. That gives us $250,000 to acquire the land with. Now earlier I did show a couple of properties. Um, they were all under 250,000. We had one, and I have a few more. We're going to have another meeting where I'm basically going to try to share as many property examples as we can. We can't really make a move until we actually are, like ready to pounce. Looking at properties does give us an idea of what kind of deals are out there. What I was going over when you guys came on was some of the boxes that we need to check before we purchase. And we have our brother Khalid Helmi. He's assisting us with, I think, and definitely in Maryland. I'm not sure if he's licensed in Virginia, but we're looking to have a buyer agent in each location. One of the reasons why, and I really want that buyer agent to be on board with our project as well, ideally, so that they have a dog in this fight and they understand. But understand, for one, this particular project, we're only dealing with Muslims. This is for the Muslims to come together for this project. And one of the things I like, and that is that the opportunity to come together to take just small incremental investments and take in. So first, the idea is acquire the land. The land has some, as I said, some requirements, the ability for us to build multiple, in fact, a dwelling for each family, right? We need to have that, whether we have to subdivide the land or whether the land or the county or city, that we won't be in a city, but we will be in a county, because we're not, these are rural, whether they, like for instance, the property we looked at in Maryland in La Plata, it's 45 minutes outside of DC. But it gave the option. It was residential. It was also agricultural. So we could, go either way, and we could also subdivide that property. But that was a smaller property. We're thinking much larger now. That was 20 acres, or just under 20 acres, 19.7 acres. So now we're looking at larger properties. We're looking at between 40 and 100 acres, 40, 80, 100, and we're looking at some of those, and they are within our the goal, and the 250,000. They're within that. The issue there becomes, the closer you get in, the more it is. So if you're 2 hours outside, 2 hours or more, say 2 hours to 3 hours outside of the DC metro area, the DMV, then what happens is those properties are pretty reasonable. We looked at one down there, it was 87 acres, and it was $172,000, right? And it was in an area that didn't have the restrictions. This was in Roanoke County, and also over in Dinwiddie, if you're familiar with those areas. I know some of the people who may be joining us, who may be part of this, may in fact not be in the area at all. They may be somewhere else. And in fact, I've spoken to one brother who's living outside of the country. He's interested in it. He's interested in the program, so that when he comes back, he can take part in. He said, this is exactly what I'm looking for. So, and that's another one of the reasons why we decided to reach out and try to see if we could get enough interest to create a demonstration project, showing the ability for Muslims to come together, buy land, and build. I think some of you may have seen, there's a guy down in Georgia. He is doing he bought 21 acres, and he sold them out, acre lots, and they started building. So if you are on, I might even be able to share my screen on Facebook, you won't be able to hear the sound though. That's the thing. I don't think.
Shalom, family.
You won't be able to hear the sound, but I
just wanted to make a quick video to show
kinda
y'all some of the progress in our community as far as building homes. This house right here is about maybe 875, 900 square feet. We got this one built. It's not complete yet.
I don't think you can't see this. So, but anyway, there's a video that we shared.
As far as framing is concerned,
Let me know if you can see it, but I'm not sure if you can. There's a guy down in Georgia. He bought 21 acres. They're starting to build right now. In fact, I'm going to mute the sound here. Anyway, so if you can see it. Bilal, can you see this, what I'm sharing? You're muted.
This is Ralph. I can see it.
Ralph,
you
can see it. Okay.
Yeah.
So what this guy did, he's bought the land, and so now they own the land. He sold them all out, right? All 21 lots are sold, and now they're starting to build the houses. And I like that about it. There's some other stuff that was looking at as well that we can do in terms of using the timber that's on the land. Sort of, got some of this, I'm gleaning from what Farouk is doing. They're making their own bricks. The brick making machine, I looked at it, it's not expensive. It's about, you get them for about $7,000-8,000. There's some more expensive, but so it's sufficient. Also for timber milling, lumber, creating your own joists and things like that. It's a beautiful machine. They started at less than $3,000, right? So the one we would probably get would be somewhere around $4,500 to $5,000 for the larger, to be able to do the larger trees. I think the one that was 2,600 did up to 22 inches diameter, or it might have been a little bigger, and the other one does up to, I think it was 30 inches.
So I can pick. I hope I can cut in here real quick.
No, go ahead.
Yeah. So listen to us after this one. So I want to first of all, I want to thank you because it's a very important project, and it's something that we're kind of like generations behind the ball on actually doing, right?
Yeah.
So it's an important process. I just have a couple of questions. Did you already purchase land, or are you in the process of trying to find the land still? Because it sounds like you're in the process of trying to find the land, correct?
Yeah, the thing is that, looking for this land is something that we've been doing for my family and I for at least 2 years. We finally came together and got serious and created an LLC and funded a bank account to do just that,
Okay.
right? So what I decided in looking and talking to people, and also while I was looking at land, I found a lot of properties that I said, you know what, this may not be right for us, but it's right for someone, and we'd like to share it. So I created a group on Facebook called Islamic Land, Farm, and Real Legacy Group, right? And it's about just sharing opportunities for people to find owner-financed land, to find inexpensive but buildable land, et cetera, things that we were finding.
So the reason why I'm asking is because both the American government and the Canadian government, they do have projects for actually acquiring free land or buying entire townships.
That's
right. So you can actually purchase like a whole township, and then we'll have some infrastructure in terms of streets and roads and whatnot, and you can basically build from ground up, which is an idea, or you can get free land from the government, and the government will, like have these lots and whatnot. It has some restrictions, like you have to put like $500 down or something like that, and then you'll get the money back after you've shown some building on the property and whatnot, because the government actually wants certain lands to be developed, right? So there are incentives for this, and I think that's a great opportunity for Muslims as well, right? Because we can essentially organically start an entire township from ground up for practically, no, we're just paying for building our own infrastructure. So we'll be like almost like Black Pilgrims almost, you know what I mean? So
Right. Yeah, we actually looked at some of those as well. Um, and you're right. That's a way we can go. One of the things I was looking at this particular project for is to be like a demonstration project to show what can be done, and of course there are variations on it. As you were saying, there's free land. I put a post-it in that group that I'm talking about. Posted some things maybe just a couple of months ago about that, how to get free and very inexpensive land to get and to also, I looked at some things much longer, about maybe a year and a half ago, about townships that are for sale. There was one up in and a sizable one in upstate, not too far from it was Buffalo or somewhere like that. There was a whole town, this post office, schools, buildings, everything. It was
everything,
yeah, it was like just a town. Roll in and it's yours.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
and you're right, those do exist, and that also is a model. So there's no one model that we want to follow. We're just trying to kick off one with a small group of people who understand what we're trying to achieve and who have interest, and they kind of buy into this concept, and they have the money to do it, so that we can show, one, that we can do this without any banks, right? We don't need banks. We have wealth, but we need to apply. For instance, we have brothers who are framing and that's what this guy is doing. We have brothers, I was just talking to a couple brothers, one of them, they're all working together up here in Pennsylvania. HVAC guy, two framing carpenters, there's a finish carpenter, there's of course plumbers and everything. We have the people, and a lot of those same people we're talking about with those skills, the building skills, they have an interest in this sort of project. Now, whether they're able to fund and do all of that, but at the very least, and I'm hoping they'll get on board, but at the very least, you can put together your own team that you can call in. And I have another video. These guys framed out a house and framed out the house in, what was it, 6 guys in 8 hours, right? They just came on, knocked it out, closed it up. I mean, it was ready to go, ready for the rest of the work, the plumbing, the electrical. But it was it had the roof and everything right there on it. Let me just quickly.
Yeah, please share that. I'd like to see that one.
Yeah. Let me just quickly share that one. Give me a second here. These guys. There we go. All right. Okay, so these guys, it's amazing. By the way, these videos are in our Sharia Land Farm Project group on Telegram. These guys came, they started at 8 o'clock in the morning, and they just, and I'm going to, just pop through it a little bit, a few seconds, a few minutes at a time, but they went on and they built post-bond construction, right? 6 guys. I watched this video a couple of times because it was exciting, and there's even more. I've seen just so much people are doing. They got the idea. They come out, they dig their wells, they clear their area. They had the pad laid. No, in fact, on this one, they didn't even do the pad. They poured the concrete after they actually put up the structure. And you see these guys. Look at this guy lifting the the rafters up, man. Right? And the 3 guys up top, boom. They had a system. And what I was saying is that this is the kind of thing, these are skills. You put the team together, and now you can take this to other people who are building out some, people who are living off grid or on grid or whatever, who want to build, you know, as we're doing. So you got a team. Now you start to be able to provide a serious service. Watch these guys turn that up. Man, look at that. You know,
Yeah, I
and
mean
everybody,
this project is it should be of the highest importance, particularly for the Black Muslim community, because if you look at the history of us in the West, this is pretty much how all Western societies were built.
yes,
Particularly with the free land part. You know
yeah,
what I mean? Of course, in American and the history of the Americas, they got the free labor to go along with it, which
right.
just happens to be us. But that should be an incentive for us to even work even harder to build our own. And it's something that should be taken very, very, very seriously. And as opposed to having our people in condensed urban areas with high crime, low government assistance, and criminalizing blackness and these type of things, right? So it's something that that should be supported, and inshallah, I think that like this type of project, it needs to have like even some imams behind it, because they honestly, the Muslim community has to get much more serious. So yesterday, a sister sent me a video on Instagram where Germantown Masjid, or that place in Philly, got shot up again, 65 shots.
What? Oh,
Yep.
subhanallah.
Yeah. So so what are Muslims really doing? You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah,
if
yeah,
if you think about the Prophet sallallahu, he didn't just stay in Mecca and take the abuse and the oppression
that's right.
from the Mushrik. He ordered his Sahaba to go to Africa, and he himself left to Medina. So, like, what are we really trying to we can't be comfortable in our existence. We have to try to find a new path for us and be trailblazers. But anyways, Jazakallah khair. I'm just ranting here, but I just wanted to
No,
add
you make good points, and that's one of the reasons why everyone should see it. The guy down in Atlanta that I showed his video earlier, that's his whole story. He said, look, we need to be able to live unencumbered and not under oppression. We need to have our own economy, all of the things we talk about. And
Yes.
so in order to do it, we have to move beyond the kalam. We just can't talk about it, but we have
Talk
to
about
move beyond that, and
Yeah.
actually start doing something. And it doesn't take a lot to get started.
That's the killer. What you said right there is spot on. It really doesn't. It just requires some effort, some work, and some vision and some leadership. You know what I
That's
mean?
it.
You know the Nation of Islam recently. I don't know if you know this YouTube personality. His name is Brother Ben X, but he bought like a whole bunch of land for just the Black community. I can't remember where it was, right? But you can check it out, and it was like a very successful project. You understand? And when you look at the Muslims in our reality here in the West, honestly, we have dropped the balls on so many occasions, particularly the Black community, allowing the same types of things that our enemies have been doing to us for the better part of 400 years. Just keep that engine going. You know what I mean? Without any type of different type of mindset or implementation of the Quran and the Sunnah in the correct manner and these type of things, right?
Right.
But yeah, this is of the highest importance, especially if you're Black and especially if you're Muslim. So, but
Yeah, this is the reason why I said starting with a manageable project, 25 families, 10,000 each, $250,000, right? Acquire the land, and then once you acquired the land, and I think you can see my, this was one, it was 35 acres. That was only 35 acres. This is one of those owner finance deal. But check it, $59,000, right? And as much as we love to have everyone, all of them in one spot, right? But look at something like this. You could literally buy this land. This was in Dinwiddie, I believe, down there. No, King and Queens County. It's still not far. I drove down there and looked. We looked at a piece of property. It was 47 acres, with a house. Only problem was the house was the house had been left uncared for probably close to a decade, and the kids who inherited this land and now they finally want to sell it, had not taken care of it, and it had a couple of the roof leaks and things like that, and it just wasn't where, you know, we could give the house any value, and they wanted value. The house had no, it needed more work than it was, than, you know, the house was worth.
It was worth.
Yeah. But if
Yeah.
you come in with the right team, of course, and that's one of the things of building our own, being able to build, our own, team of
Commu-
finished
yeah,
carpenters. You have those builder skills, and that was
yeah.
one of the other things. We want to target those people for this first project. We want to
Yeah.
target people with plumbing skills, HVAC skills. We have
I-
project management.
Ironically,
Huh?
ironically, you mentioned about the houses, all right? And in Detroit right now, you can go into an entire neighborhood and get houses for
Yes.
like under 5,000, under you know what I mean? And
Right.
you know, and just I mean, you're basically looking at the foundation of a structure, but at least you can renovate, and there's roads and infrastructure and these type of things, right? Because Detroit right now is like a massive flight out, right? But but where somebody's else is failed is another person's opportunity. But anyways, I'm just throwing out ideas there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But
And you know the
Jazakallah,
property that I shared with you, the one were talking about aquaponics in the urban area, that
Yeah.
building 45,000 square feet. What was it? 279,000 or something like that. Had a big cathedral building, like big 45,000 square feet, mostly open, so you didn't in very high ceilings. It had a huge parking lot or area that was all earth now, but you can see it probably was paved over at one time. But to create areas for even some outdoor greenhouses and things, as well as a place for trucks to come and pick up the produce and take it to locations. It's like you were saying, you like the idea because
Yeah.
putting them in an urban area allows people to just come and see and get their
Yeah.
produce locally grown,
Ex-
organic, all of the good stuff that people are looking for today, and
course.
and
Yeah.
the governments are looking for. Cities, they want, it creates jobs,
Yep.
it creates local supply of produce doesn't have to come across state borders and do all of that. It's right inside of the community. And so that's a great idea. I'm thinking more on the urban level for that same project. And by the way, this land that we're talking about, we want to have some revenue generating projects, such as my love is what we both love, and that is the vertical farming project, aquaponics.
Yep.
You know, and it
Yep.
produces, and it's the future of agri. There's no doubt about that. That's the only
Exactly.
way we can go, right? So get
Yeah.
on board. So this land that we're talking about getting, this is one of the projects. Besides that, we want to do training. We
Yeah.
want to train our people for all of these remote jobs. Sir, you know, come on, Ralph, chime in. They're opening up a lot of opportunity if you have the right skills, and we have people who can train our people, our youth and young adults, and older adults as well, how to put themselves in a position where they can take advantage of this demand that's growing.
Yeah. But Jazakallah khair, Sheikh. I have to prepare for, now that you mentioned the aquaponics. I have to
Now,
prepare for the
tafadala.
aquaponics. Yeah, okay. But thank you so much for this project, and may Allah make it successful for us, and may Allah, you know, bless all of us with our own, you know.
Right.
as-
Now, and I encourage our brother Naeem and Imam Ali Baba, and you know, I know we would like to have them on board as well and get them involved, inshallah.
Exactly. Okay. As that old song says, you know, Mama got his, Papa got his, but Father got his own, right?
Right. No doubt.
All right.
All right.
Assalamu
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Now, hey, Ralph, did you have anything you wanted to add before we close it down? Any questions, any comments, any suggestions? And this is why I was hoping also our brother Jamel would get on board, and we got a few other people out there. Hopefully in our future meetings, because we do plan on having these probably 2 meetings a week until we get this project fully manned up, right? Inshallah.
Yeah, no. I mean, you hit on all the points. I mean, definitely make the collective cooperative effort. It's good that you. What I didn't know before, because I missed that first meeting, that you got a targeted group of that. I think you said 10 families or 25.
25 families, yeah. And we want
Right.
to target in there people who can bring some skills to the table that are going to help, so we don't have to go outside of our
Right.
group, you know.
No, for sure. So it sounds like you're looking for a larger foot. I know you sent the that link with the brother sent with, I think it was like 4 or 5 properties, but it sounds like you're looking for more acreage than that now.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. We're looking for somewhere between 40 to 100 acres upwards. Ideal, the sweet spot is somewhere around 80 acres.
Got it. Okay, so 40 the minimum. Okay.
Yeah, 40 is the floor. You know,
I'll definitely start keeping an eye out, because I know. I mean, when we were, with the Georgia project or whatever, I was looking at a bunch of stuff in that area, separate from Hancock County.
Mm-hmm.
But it was recently. I was like, ah, man, forget. But before I knew about yours, like, hey, I need to figure this thing out locally.
Right.
Maryland, Virginia is like Maryland, Virginia, maybe Pennsylvania. I ain't got to drive.
Right. No, check this out. I was talking to Farouk, and one of the things he's doing, which is interesting. Check it out. Now, there are people in these areas who have either the counties own the land and they want to get rid of it, or there are people who have lost their land because they couldn't pay the taxes and someone bought their tax certificate, right? So my thing is that I've never liked the thing where you go in and buy the certificate and take the people's land, but I like to, and even when I thought of doing something like that, I thought of a way that we can give it back, or make it offer or sell it and allow them to salvage value out of their property that may have been in their family for a generation or 2 or more, right?
Right.
So one of the things he said he's doing, he says there's a situation there where family lost their lands. Somebody's holding the tax certificate. They get to hold it for 12 months, and then I guess it goes to the next level, which is where they actually take possession of the land or whatever, right? And they got 12 months to come up with the money and pay the money for the taxes plus any interest or what have you, right? In this case, what I was looking at doing, and actually is what he's doing, he says he approached the family after someone has bought the certificate and they're under the gun. They got 12 months. They clearly couldn't pay the taxes, otherwise they would have. So you approach them and make an offer to buy the property from them, right? So you can buy the tax certificate back. They've agreed to sell it to you for an agreed upon price, and then they are back in control and the ability to gain the value of their property, and you've got the property. You've just purchased the property, and you've done a family a solid because they were in a position where they were going to lose it, and you've come in and you've done a good solid for them. And I'm not saying we go in and rob them. No, I'm saying we go in and offer them a reasonably fair market value for the property, or at least something that when they leave with a smile on their face and feeling satisfied, and we have just stepped in and acquired the land and stopped someone who might have had, developed. They want to come in and do whatever. But anyway, you know what I'm saying. So once you have 25 families and you're working with $250,000, and then you can do some things, and then if you have the families like that, you always have the ability to ramp up, right? So if we come in and we can acquire the property for say 150, 225,000, whatever. Now we have survey done, we have things done, and then we
Right.
start laying out, and then we go to the next phase, right?
So two things. One, where are you at number wise, family wise? Because I can do some recruiting.
Right.
And then the second question, so post the acquisition, what's the thought, or maybe maybe you've already figured it out, but what's the thought process post acquisition for now development? You know, because there's going to be more money that's needed.
That's right. Right.
From a financing perspective, have you thought about that or figured that part out?
Yeah. Certainly we looked at that, and that's one of the reasons why we said, okay, so now at this point, once you've actually acquired the land, and this depends a lot on the land, and you know, we of course, so we want to go after land that has the features and the lack of restrictions so that we can go on and build, right? And so
Sure.
then the second phase, planning, comes into place, and of course we want to already have an idea what we want to do, but what we'd like to do at that point is to begin to get the equipment, and that's why I'd like to get land and still have, you know, 50 to 100,000 cash to operate on, to do other things. Like we need to get the survey done, right? We need to be able to allocate, you know, start building the houses. Now, families who have the ability to build, like this house that this guy was building, about 1,200, 1,500 square feet, right? How I looked at the numbers, how much it costs to build these houses, and you can literally, you know, you did put in a septic, dig the well, and build the house all for under $100,000, right? Now you're not furnishing that, but you are building the house. It's ready to move in, and it has appliances, you know, so forth, right?
Yeah.
So go ahead.
No. I just wanted to stop you on that one point, because that was one thing I was thinking about but before I knew about you doing this, when I was looking for myself, to get some land. One, I wanted to have a water source on the land, but then two, the sewer system, so something that's close by, so you can plug into it. So is that one of the requirements for whatever land? Looking at something that we can, I don't want to say necessarily plug and play, but close enough that we can plug and play.
Well, a lot of these, you're probably not going to have that. What you're going to do is have to put in your own septic system.
Got it. Okay.
Septic system runs between $5,000 and $8,000 generally. You can do them cheaper, and that's the other thing. Again, if we have the ability to do it in houses, we're building out, we're gaining more capabilities. A septic system is not rocket science. You just got to have the equipment, right?
Right. No, true. So that 5 to 8, that's what, per house, or?
Yes, per house. That's right. You know, so each house, and we don't want to have everybody on top of each other, but you might look through the woods and see your neighbor over there, kind of thing. So we don't want everybody. We want people to have, and then you got your common areas, and then you have your recreational areas set up, right? So families can take the kids. You got the playground, you got the basketball court, tennis, whatever, right? And then we got to have, sort of on the other end of the property, you want to be able to raise your own sheep, your goats, have your chickens and hens and all of that operation going on, right? And also have your greenhouse. Hopefully, as I said, we really want to do that project for vertical farming. But initially, you won't be able to do that right out the gate, so you do what you can do. But you do want to be off-grid as much as possible. Now, important question comes, we know we can get water. How do you get power?
Right.
Now, a lot of these, I was looking at one just last night, and they had power at the street. And they just had to pay to get it, just like Farouk did down in Georgia, right? They got the power extended, and now you can come off of that and you can start providing power to your houses yourself. You know, if you got a licensed electrician, and what I used to do when I was building is that you save money. You get you a guy. He signs off. He gets the license. He gets the permits. You do the work. He comes in and inspects and says, okay, that's good. Then you call in the county inspector, right?
Right.
He ties it into the box, and we used to tie it in too. It's not rocket science. You tie it in. I did that stuff, you know. And he comes and he makes sure he checks because his license. He got his license out there, but you paying him. He making money just to be like a consultant, right? So that's the kind of thing you do, and after a while, you got guys, man, you're knocking them down. Like you said, you saw those guys frame that house out in 6 and 8 hours. I'm not saying we're going to frame them out in 8 hours. It could take 3 days, right? You know? But the thing is that if you have those skills in-house, then you do that, and then you bring it, and at some point, you're able to have those skills marketed out to others. And that team can stay busy, and that brings revenue back into the community.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, so I would suggest that we, you know, this sounds like definitely something I would like to participate in. Let me just say that first. But I would suggest that in the land research, from a surveying perspective, let's try whatever that we acquire. That is something that, like you said, some land, the electricity is right there. So as opposed to buying something away middle of Timbuktu, you got to create it. Something is already. That's what I mean by plug and play.
Right.
Plug right into it. And it keeps the cost down as well.
Exactly. So, and then you can gradually, family as they like, start implementing solar. You know, there's the creek, which you have some ability to do, at least for our public areas and things. Hydroelectricity, you know, that thing. I don't know if you saw, I didn't put that in the room, but it's amazing how just off of a creek you can create hydroelectric power, you know.
I'm glad you said that. So if you could share that hydroelectric but the one with the brothers, I looked in there, and you probably shared that before I joined the group. So I don't have the history, so if you can just repost that so I can just see that, I appreciate that.
Okay, all right, will do.
But yeah, no, this is exciting, man. I'm definitely we were on the same wavelength. You were just ahead of me, so I have been thinking about the poster Farouk thing. I was just like, okay, this is great, but I need something a whole lot closer than this.
That's kind of what happened with me. I was like, dude, if I'm going to do something, I don't want to have to hop on a plane or drive 12, 14 hours to get there, and then I'm pooped. I can't do anything. I want to be able to drive maybe an hour, 2 hours. Okay, I'm there. I can get the supplies if I'm meeting the truck that's delivering the timber or whatever, or the machinery, because as I said, some of this machinery is inexpensive. Throw us a steel building. To do a lot of these smaller steel buildings. Steel building might be 1,200, 1,500 square feet. You can throw those up for about $20,000, right?
Nice.
We put our own pad in, right? We do our own pad. And then they just come in, and then you can get the kits if you really want to do it. But these guys will come in and throw the building up. I priced that. You know, I've already did that kind of homework because I was thinking like that a couple of years ago when we were looking at this. You know, so I've done a lot of research into design, how you design. I looked last night at some software because I looked at a family. They designed their house, beautiful house. The whole building process, from digging the footing, putting up the walls, and not the walls, but the pouring the forms for the concrete to be poured in and create the foundational foundations and things like that. And I've worked around that industry for more than 20 years, so I'm familiar with it, and that's a good thing in terms of also project planning, project management. So one of the things we do, and that's what we're offering as part of this whole package, is that we have project management within our group. We have, if we can have the other skills, finished carpenters, rough carpenter or framing carpenters, and so on and so forth, then we have people, able to pull up structures at a much discounted price than someone who just goes out in the market. We do our own become our own general contractor.
For sure. I mean, we got enough people within our network that can plug in and definitely help keep that cost down, for sure.
Exactly.
Cool. I'm on board. I'm getting the nod from the family, so I need to go plug in.
No. Okay, yeah. I can't see the nod, but I'm sure it's going on. So definitely. Now, Jazakallah khair for joining, Ak, and I'll keep you posted. You're in our Telegram group, right?
Yes, in there
Okay,
now. Yep.
good. So yeah, I'll drop that in there. I'll drop a few things in there, and then we'll go for the next meeting, which I'll have that schedule in there, placed in there as well, and as well as on the sites.
Okay, inshallah. I appreciate it.
Naam, Jazakallah khair for coming on.
All right, solid.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullah. Now, alhamdulillah, brothers and sisters. Well, you see that we finally got the meeting started, and that's what I said. You know, the synergy starts when you come on board. Next meeting, inshallah, join us in the Zoom, ask the questions, bring the information. You saw Brother Bilal, he brought the information about the land that's available out there. He's into the aquaponics. He and I discussed doing some business with that previously. You know, he likes the urban idea, and I see value in that. There's no doubt. I like the rural idea, right? Because you have the ability to go ahead and set aside 5-10 acres or more and begin to build out marginally. Start out with a 10 to 20,000 or so square foot area, begin putting it together. I think there was something, let's see. Anyway, I'll share some things in the group. If you're not in the Telegram group, please join. Please join the Telegram group. A lot of the information that we share, the videos, the websites that give us more information, a lot of the land that we're looking at, you're going to find it there. You won't necessarily find it, certainly not in the Students of Knowledge group, because this video may likely be edited and cut down to be put in there. That group is dedicated to Islamic knowledge. But for our Islamic land, farm, legacy, and real legacy group, we put things over there as we always do, but you may not find this over there, all of the information. In fact, I'm sure you won't find everything over there. You'll find some of the things. So if you want to be up to speed on all the stuff we're doing and be able to ask questions at any time, rather than and it'll get more attention than it would if you post it in our groups. So in the Muslim Group Economics, Muslim Group Economics Initiative, and the Islamic Land, Farm, and Real Legacy groups, where this video will be up. It'll be edited a little bit, but it'll be up there. You'll be able to view this. The other, and share, please. And we'll likely start a YouTube channel, or I'll take one of my existing channels and that probably I could do that. Take one of my existing channels and repurpose it for this effort. But understand something. Our effort is to create a demonstration project that we can say, see, it can be done, and this is where we are, this is how we started, and this is where we are today. And as we're constructing homes, as we are able to provide for our own communities, we have a lot. For instance, one of the things that was in, I'm looking at a sister, for instance. She is she's on the West Coast, and she has a property, a house she wants to sell. It's very expensive out there. I told her, I said, you know, it's expensive to live out there. She said, yes, it is. So she'll probably get a good price for her house. But check this out. She'll be able to be part of our community and have plenty of change in the bank, right? She could come to our community, participate, and build her house and be comfortable and be part of a pioneering group. We're pioneers in this effort. We're not the only ones doing it. As we saw, the group down, the guy down in Georgia, we got Brother Farouk Hunter in Georgia. We have the group in Mississippi, right? Forget what their name is. The sister, in fact, owns the acre of land down there. I think she says she has a house on that land that she's, I think, was renting out or whatever. But the thing is, and they've been there for a long time. Then you have a group up in New York, upstate. You have Muslims have wanted to do this. What we want to do is to create a demonstration project, put all the pieces together, have a sort of out-of-the-box turnkey project that we can take anywhere. You got land. There's land for sale in I'm not trying to go there, but there are Muslims already there. Texas, Colorado, Arizona, big, huge swaths of land for sale at very good prices. Don't know what, and a lot of it has, when they advertise it, zero, the restrictions are almost nothing in some of those places. You can go on there and do whatever you want to do. You want to farm, you want to build a community, you want to build your vertical farming project or whatever you want to do, you can do it there. Colorado, a number of those states out west, right? This is the kind of thing where we can say, hey, we can help you put this together. Even the part where we bring the families together. We hone this down. Bring in how many families? Well, our target is 50 families to begin with. Okay. And we go and our community here is several thousand. We have 1,500 people attend Juma every week. We'd like to get 10% of them to be part of this project. Their target is 150 people. Fine. We go in and we become the consultants and bring the engineering capabilities, for building, and also the knowledge of how to work with governments. This is something that goes across the board, across the United States. If you know how to go down and talk the language and communicate with these people in government, not everyone can do that. Right? How these systems works, how the county board, how the municipal codes, how do you get them adjusted, changed, modifications, or exemptions from, to be able to, you have to know the history. So we have people who become experts who are already experts in this thing. We already have people in our community. They do this, but they're not doing it in this context, right? They're doing it. I remember when I was in New York and I was working with a company, a nonprofit called Citizens Committee for New York City, Inc. And I went down and I learned how to look up ownership of properties, right? Something I had been vaguely familiar with, but they taught us a lot more. We actually went down and we could see the history of the property, who owned it, because we wanted to get that property either taken care of because they were abandoned properties pretty much and being used for all sorts of illicit activities. Wanted to put the pressure on them because of the state law, the city law, state and city had laws that kind of dealt with those sorts of things, right? The abatement of nuisance here in the Washington, D.C. area, that is something that exists across the country. How you go in, you find some property, it's not being taken care of, you find out who the owner is, you serve them with information, you got to do this, you have to do that, these are the requirements, and if they don't do it, you can go to the government, a court, and get what is called, and there are probably other things you can do as well, but an abatement of nuisance order on it, where you get the ability to go in and take that property and do what you want to do. You can't sell it. At the period of time, you can actually become complete owners if that owner doesn't, I think in DC it was 7 years, but guess what? From the moment you get that abatement of nuisance, you are the de facto owner of the property with all rights, except you can't sell it. So you can rehab, you can't tear it down, but you can rehab it, fix it up, rent it out, use it for whatever legal purposes that it can be used for, whatever the zoning allows and so forth. And when the owner comes, he may show up 6 months, a year, 5 years, whatever later, and says, hey, that's my house. And I said, well, it is your house. But we have a lien, we have possession, legal possession, and a lien. Now, since you haven't been here, this property has, increased in value because of works and improvements we've done, et cetera, et cetera. And so if you have 150, if you have 500,000, or whatever that number might be for that particular property, you can turn that, you can get with our lawyer, pay that off, and you can have this property back, right? A lot of cases they're not able to do that. And if you can make a deal with them, or you can just say, well, we'll wait you out, because at 7 years in DC, at least as I recall, the government is going to pass that ownership over to us anyway. So if you want to make a deal, you can start making it now, right? So anyway, there were some other things you heard us discussing, but anyway, I'm gonna end this as the brother the brother Ralph was saying. He said he was getting the nod. I don't see the nod, but I'm sure the nod is happening. I'm gonna get up out of here, brothers and sisters. Share it out. I'll say a couple of things. Share the links to our meetings and to our Telegram channel. Please share that with anyone you think would be interested, and even those you don't even think would be interested. Share it at the local masjid, Islamic center, community, where in your community, at the halal meat market. Put a little flyer. We'll create a flyer, put it on the site where you can download it and share it out, or just copy and share it into other Muslim groups. And this particular project, as I mentioned before, is for the Muslims only, right? Just like our groups here, Muslims only, right? We do have, and I didn't mention it, we do have, because there's a lot of interest from the African American community. I've in a couple of groups that are African American targeted. For instance, blacks living off grid, and there's another one, black owned farms, and a couple of other ones out there. Those are two of the main ones that I really like what they're doing, but there are others. And so we got a lot of interest. Actually, we're having a meeting tonight at I think I set it for 8 o'clock tonight, that we're going to meet with some of our members of those groups. So anyway, I look forward to seeing you at the next meeting. If you have any questions, you can always ask them in the Telegram group, or in on the Facebook page or group that you're on. Jazakumullah khairan, asan jazak. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala increase the Muslims in deen, in iman, in our goodness in this life and in the next. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.